Hello, everyone. Welcome to episode 2 of Puck Dynasty's Top 50 Prospects. Episode 1 sure was entertaining, wasn't it, Deebs?
Oh, it was unbelievable. I couldn't believe it. There was swings. We had to concessions on both sides, listen to each other's point of view. It was nice. It was very
That's
nice.
right. I can't believe we're both still wearing the same outfits all these days later after recording episode 1.
It's hockey season.
Here we are.
No.
Hockey season, buddy. Oh, I'm so excited for tomorrow.
Was that a Blades hoodie? Jersey hoodie?
That's a Blades jersey hoodie. Yeah, I got this at
That's
Game 7
sweet.
of Saskatoon Moose Jaw last year, which
Who's
unfortunately...
your favorite Blade of all time?
Who's my favorite Blade of all time? Man, I really like Tanner Molendyk. He is. I know it's fairly recent. Solikov was really fun to watch last year. Shen back when, but I didn't live in Saskatoon in those days, right? Like I was in Regina for the Mem Cup and all that stuff back in those days. And that's an easy question. Who's my favorite WHL player of all time? Is Jordan Eberle. It's not even close. Like there's no comparison. Favorite player to watch for sure. Never understood the Colton Tubert love. Moved away from Regina before Bedard landed. So yeah, like I don't know. I'm going to a few Blades games this year. It's going to be a rough year, but obviously I'm going to the Tigers games. I went to the preseason game between them and Brandon on Sunday night. So I'm looking forward to some WHL action this year, but I think it's going to mostly be the Blades getting spanked. I just like the sweater, man. It's warm. It's warm. It's a warm sweater. I like it.
Derek Morris was my favorite. Pat.
Derek Morris.
I love Derek Morris. Yeah.
Interesting choice, man. That. So you've been wrong about prospects for like a long time, hey?
Derek Morris is a great hockey player.
Was he?
Great NHLer, yeah.
He's serviceable. Anyways, we have all the time in the world to shit on each other. We got all year to shit on each other. Let's go ahead with our list. We are currently sitting at number 27. Just to recap real quick. At number 1, we had Celebrini, 2 Michkov, 3 Demidov, 4 Will Smith, 5 Brant Clark, 6 Nikishin, 7 Hudson, 8 Cutter Gauthier, 9 Ryan Laird, 10 Logan Stankoven. At 11, Iginla forced an Iginla pick on me. At 12, we had Zellweger. At 13, we had Zane Pereka. At 14, we agreed on Yurov. We were actually in agreement for a while there. At 15, we had Lev Shunov. At 16, Lekermeki. 17, Seneki. 18, Berkeley Catton. 19, Nazar. 20, Lindstrom. 21, Zaboom. 22, Quentin Musty. 23, Rucker McGroarty. 24, Snuggy Bear, Jimmy Snuggerud. 25, Matt Savoy. 26, Gabe Perreault, which brings us to number 27. And Deebs,
before we go to 27,
oh shit!
When Ryan says Zaboom, he means Zeev Booyum. Just so you guys
know that aware. You don't. I've been saying
they know that.
I've been saying that since like January of last year. No, before that, it was before World Juniors. I gave him Zaboom.
Right. We'll see.
Heck of a hockey player, man. I cannot believe that. That's going to be the steal of the draft right there. I think he could step in and play this year if he wanted to. He was that good.
Probably.
Number 27, I'm going to let you kick us off here, pal. Who do you think, besides Derek Morris, should come in at number 27?
Next up on my list was Dalibor Dvorsky. I thought he had... so last season, had a rough start over in the... I think he was in the Czech League, wasn't he?
Yeah, he was, man.
Yeah, he had a rough start over there, and he went the unconventional route, and he, midway through the season, was it after the World Juniors or before? I don't remember.
I think it was before.
No. But he went over to Sudbury and joined Quentin Musty, and they were dynamite together. So he found his offensive game, played junior hockey in the O, which is good for a D+1 player. Great skill set, all around, playmaking, scoring. He's going to be surrounded by really good talent in St. Louis. They're on their way up. And so I think he's a top 6 there. And I'd say he's probably, he'll probably slot in on that power play 1. if he keeps progressing. So I like him there.
Yeah, he's probably the fourth forward.
Yeah.
I don't have him here, but he's just a couple spots down. If him and Kulich were on different, if they swap spots, who goes ahead?
Swap teams?
Yeah.
Well, I think, but he's such a great playmaker too, though. He might be perfect in a place like Buffalo. I think he's just a bit more versatile of a player. I mean, not to say being a 35 goal scorer in the AHL or whatever he had last year is a bad thing for Kulich, but just being a bit more of a playmaker, headsy player, I would probably have Dvorsky a little farther ahead on Buffalo too. But I had Kulich higher on my list.
You had Kulich higher on the list. Yeah, that's how you defending that, man? Just because he wouldn't fit in St. Louis? I mean, he kind of would. Snuggie shoots on the other side. He'd be bumping Kyrou. Thomas plays on that side. We'll take Dvorsky at 27. I'm happy with that. At 28, I'm putting forward AHL MVP Maverick Top Gun Bork.
Mavi.
I love him, man.
That's
I've
a good
loved
bet.
this kid since he used to play with Bourgault way back when in the queue. I'm a big fan of this guy. It took him a little bit longer to get going. I think we talked about this right around, like, Stankoven had been called up but hadn't played. And you and I had this discussion on one of our episodes about it was a big pending month for Bork to show what he could do without Stankoven, and he shone. I think his point per game stayed the same or even bumped up a little bit. He stepped up big. Obviously, he played whatever it was, 3 minutes in game 5 of the Edmonton-Dallas series. Didn't get much, game 6, I think. Didn't get much of a shot. But I do have a serious infatuation with anyone on Dallas. And I think that there's a lot of places where Bork could slot in the next 2 years in that top 6. Tell me I'm wrong.
Not wrong. For some reason, he's been an afterthought prospect since, because he went second round to Dallas, correct?
Or was he late first or high second? Yeah, we had him.
We had him right around.
He was number 50 last year. Yeah. I have a hard time putting a guy who just won AHL MVP at age 21, 20, much lower than 28.
It's this next grouping of forwards are all very similar to me again. So yeah, I have no problem with that, and he's done it at the level that these other guys are looking to do. So
I agree with that.
We have. I think like all the rest of these guys outside of like a great camp and preseason are seeing time in the AHL next year. So for me,
there's one guy on the list who I am not sure is going to see AHL time, who I'm very, very high on. It's not quite so where I had. Huh?
We're gonna go with Bork here in 28.
Yeah, Bork is 28.
Is this mystery guy next on your list, or are you just dropping hints for later?
He's 4 from now, but I'm going to go ahead and nominate him now. Bradley Nadeau.
Bradley Nadeau, big jump from me, and I like Nadeau.
I think that we talked about this a little bit this morning. I said try and think about some guys who could be this year's favor, who could be this year's oh my god, why is it so late at night? Genther. Guys like that. Nadeau could play in Carolina's top 6, dude. Like that top 6 is not full.
Well, who do they have slotting as their second line center?
Jack Drury or Kotkaniemi.
Yeah. So Ideally,
who's their top 6 wings? It gets worse. They got Nijis. Like the only deserving player on the second line for Carolina is Nijis.
Well, Svechnikov, but he's top line.
Svechnikov's top line. Yeah, their top line is Svech, Jarvis, Aho. Their second line, and this is, I mean, so premature, but their second line right now looks to be some combo of Nadeau, Kotkaniemi, Nijis, Drury, Roslovich. It's not good, and the same goes for their second line power play / fourth forward on the power play. I think Nadeau is a guy who could make us look really stupid this year. Simply because, I mean, skills, yes, for sure. Hobie Baker nominee, outscored his older brother by a point, had a heck of a year. And the opportunity in Carolina, like who's the next forward up? So there's a guy I really like. I'm not sure if he'll be mentioned by you. He is on my list, and that's Felix Ungersorum. He's a ways away. The next forward up for them, I don't know who it is. Like I don't know who the next guy is, and I think Nadeau might be a guy who in 1 year leagues, he would be a guy I'd be eyeing up with my last pick of the draft. And of all these rookies that we've mentioned, I'm not sure that many have the same kind of opportunity that he could have. He's small. Like, he's a small player. He's a bet against him kind of guy. Especially
he's 5'11". He's not small.
He's pretty slight though. Like, I wouldn't call him strong on his skates. You know, like that's not his strength. Isn't not getting knocked off the puck. He's a skill guy.
Well, his shot is unreal. His
shot is unreal.
Absolutely disgusting. The other guy Carolina has coming up is Jackson Blake. So Jackson Blake, is a nice piece too.
Blake. Yeah, yeah. You know, that's not bad. He might be there too. He's certainly a guy who you could see in that conversation. Nice point.
Yeah, I could see it only because of sheer. They just, I don't know if it was a mismanagement of what happened in Carolina or because they were caught in between general managers. I don't know, but how they let all that talent slip away and not replace it is tough. Now, is it worth it to accelerate Nadeau and put him in a position that's a bit riskier by being it earlier in his timeline than maybe it should be? Maybe, but I don't know. Like, that's a big jump. So he was BCHL 2 seasons ago. So it's a big jump. Going to NCAA, then to the NHL. But even if he did, would that make him a better prospect long term than some of these next guys? Like all these next guys are kind of like AHL fodder, anyways. That I have, like Cowan, Danielson, Brindley, Coronado, Wright, Yager, like all these guys are going to be seeing AHL time before they see NHL time coming up, and Cole Eisman, who's going to be in college for the next while. So
why do we hate Shane Wright so much? He's not even on my list. He should be.
He's not that good. He's not a first overall quality player. And he's destined to be a 25 good player. Give me a good player. That's it. He's not great. He missed a whole year of hockey. It's a price you pay.
Those are good answers. That's not why I hate Shane Wright, though. I hate Shane Wright because of the glare. It'll always be that guy. He was good. He's got to be fair. He was very good in his limited NHL time last year. He had a good season in the AHL last year. He had a very good season. Before we went to air tonight, I was driving home from a work thing, and I was like, I know I missed someone. We decided, we should have said this in the first episode, we decided not to put goalies in this list for a couple of reasons. One, goalies are voodoo. Two, Depending on your fantasy settings, it's really hard to say who you would trade a goalie for straight across. And I wouldn't want to give anyone the advice of trading someone for, say, an Askarov without knowing what your settings are. So we decided to do a separate top 10 for goalies. I forget why I was saying this. Right, Shane Wright. So I had to pull, when we decided to yank goalies, I did have to pull 5 goalies off my list and replace it with 5 players, sort of last day before the recording. And Shane Wright should have been on the list before that. He certainly should have been in my 5 that I added today, and he's nowhere on my list. So Shane Wright would be a guy I actually would consider here.
27?
I have a hunch. Yeah.
For 29?
29.
Really?
Yeah. My only beef with Shane Wright at this point, from a what have you done since you were drafted standpoint, is more the situation in Seattle than anything else. I like Catton better. I like Rekop better long term, but there's opportunity in Seattle for him. I just have a hunch Nadeau is going to be the guy that makes us look stupid. That's my argument. It's a shitty argument.
Let's do it.
I feel like, yeah.
Big
I feel
jump
like
for Nadeau. Hey, he was good and really good in college last year.
He was really good in college last year.
And he destroyed the BCHL the year before. So,
yeah. And we touched on this in our previous episode. Carolina is one of my favorite teams to in later rounds of fantasy drafts. I just take who Carolina took. If it's forward, I'll take an Anaheim D. I'll take a Carolina forward. It's one of the guys who is not on our list at all. Well, certainly not my list, but I'm excited about him. Is Jeremy Poirier from the Q. He's I believe, maybe fact check me on this, I believe he's the first draft eligible 50 goal scorer in the Q since Sid. And they took him in round 4 or 5. Any other team, I'm not that excited about him. Sorry, Justin Poirier, not Jeremy. But being that he's on Carolina, I've got time for that kid. Just because Carolina, and they don't miss, man. Like, that team has built a top 10 pre-Gensel trade, a top 10 prospect pool from late picks. Like, the highest pick they've had in the last however long. Like, I think Svechnikov would be their last actual high pick, but they don't get high picks. They just nail all their second, third, fourth rounders. They do well. So I like Nadeau a lot. I'm happy to put him in that spot. And if I'm wrong, we will be having a conversation about Nadeau on our kickoff episode next year. At number 30.
I hope you're right.
I hope I'm right too. I do have a little bit of Nadeau stock with another draft to go, but I think I have him.
Likewise.
I think, oh yeah, that's right. You do. God, when are you so agreeable?
I think I traded to get him. He was still sitting there, like right around like 25th or something. I was like, oh yes, make the move.
What are you eating right now?
I got some cream cheese.
Cream cheese and...
Well, I had pita and cream cheese.
And now you're just dipping your fingers into cream cheese?
Yeah. I figured it's like the least noisiest way to eat.
Well, it's a little early for this episode, but in our last episode, we learned something about Debert, and today we learned something again. So there you have it.
What'd you learn last episode about me?
Number 30, for our listeners at home, you know what you learned. Number 30 is up to you. Who do you like?
So we did Nadeau. Next up for me is Easton Cowan.
Ooh.
This is pure opportunity plus an excellent draft. D +1.
Well, yeah, he said a point
streak record.
Yeah, point streak. Yeah.
He might be back in London again this year. It's either NHL or OHL, but it's just the opportunity is that's going to be sitting there to be playing with Matthews, Nylander, maybe Marner.
Nyes is in the top 6 forever.
Yeah, Nyes too, but Nyes could move up and down the lineup as well. So Like, if just looking at the rest of the guys, like no one left on my list is playing with those caliber of players in the future, and has like a wide open spot too.
Do you think he plays this year? The Pacioretty signing is a
I
bit
don't
of a.
think so.
You don't think he's okay?
They'll
I'm
give him a
happy.
look. They'll give him a look, but I don't. I don't think it's in. They should save that entry level deal one more year.
Yeah, if they could send him to the AHL, I don't think it would be even a question. I don't know what more. Like, go win the Mem Cup, I guess. But like, the guy was unreal in that tournament. He was unreal last season. He was unreal in the playoffs. I don't know what more you want to see from that guy in the OHL. I think it's a bad move to send him back, to be honest, just because I don't like burning. I don't like burning a development year at age 20. I think it's such an important season that you don't want to see him stagnate. What would he have to do? Here's a question. And I'm not disagreeing with you that he can be there at 30. How many points does he have to score in the OHL to move up our list at this time next year if he's in the OHL this year?
Move up the list,
130? Yeah.
probably, but but he's gonna be playing on a stacked London team again, so it's hard to even distinguish like what a ridiculously high point season is. I think he is what he's gonna be. Like really, like, he's gonna be that third or fourth fiddle in the top six, and it's great. Like I think his
Right.
game translates really well to the Leafs, and for him, I foresee them hanging on to him. He'll get his 9 games over 30 or something like that. Like
Yeah.
take him to the Christmas break, and
Yeah,
then
take him to World Juniors.
yeah, take him to World Junior, send him back, and there's no problem because London's going to be good again, so it's fine.
Yeah.
It's not like London's going to be hurting. So other guys get more ice time in London.
When was the last
Everyone
time
wins.
London was hurting?
Wow, no, that's yeah. He runs quite the operation out there. The Hunter boys.
All right, we're gonna do Cowan at 30. I had Matejchuk there.
Cool.
What who've you got for us at 31?
I got
Jeez,
Cole.
I can tell by the look on
Yeah.
your face who it is.
I got Cole.
It's Yzerman.
Well. And this is me.
For those
This
of
is just
you
me.
who have been waiting for the bloodbath, it has arrived. Should we tell the story? Do you
Which
remember our
one?
conversation on draft day? You remember? You don't remember?
Which
Oh man, it was such a pivotal,
Remind me.
such a pivotal moment in our relationship. So it's draft day, and Evan and I are talking about where Yzerman is going to go. And I said I will be shocked if he goes ahead of 15, and I specifically said that Nygaard should go ahead of him. And Debert said something along the lines of, "Well, you're an idiot." And
I didn't say you were an
said,
idiot. I said they would be an idiot if
No,
they
no, no, no,
passed.
no.
No.
You
I didn't
s-
call
no,
you an idiot.
You
Well,
you did.
no.
Here's how.
I would never
Correct
do
me
that.
after I finish it, or you something along that lines, or like that's why you're not a scout. And I said, okay. And if Nygaard goes ahead of Yzerman, you said then there's a lot of stupid scouts in the NHL too. And I was like, so me, and like I can appreciate calling NHL scouts idiots for sure, but me, you're calling me in it? Like
I don't think I called you
was.
an idiot. I would never do that.
I'm on a new phone, so I don't know that I can check it, but I will. For our next episode, I will pull up the conversation, and for what it's worth, and I know you love when I do this, but I was right. Nygaard went ahead. What number was Yzerman? 23, 21?
It's 21.
21.
The crazy thing that it would have been perfect. Steve Yzerman picking Cole Yzerman. It would have been a soundbite of all time. But
Nah, it would have been
didn't
way
go that
better if
route.
Yzerman went up and
he,
forgot his name.
he would have been a much better fit in Detroit too. That's exactly what they need there.
I completely disagree. Nygaard is killing it overseas so far. Have you seen this kid? He reminds me of Rantanen, man. Like, I have Nygaard ahead of Yzerman. Yzerman's not on my list, but Nygaard looks good, dude. He looks good. That kid can shoot.
Okay. Well,
we'll see.
You know who else can shoot?
I think Nygaard actually is aware of the other facets of hockey, which is the primary issue. Like, if Yzerman had any idea,
Cole Yzerman puts puck in the net. That's what he does.
Sure.
He even says that as a quote. I'm gonna do what Cole Yzerman does best.
Forgive me, I'm not. My brain doesn't work like it. Philip Zadina is what? Yeah. What did he say when he was drafted? Do you remember?
Oh, he'll make all the other teams regret it or something like that.
And he's going to score a lot of goals against the teams that passed on him. Hockey players talk shit, man.
He wasn't talking shit at the draft.
Well, he was talking. They talk about themselves. I'm going to be as brutally honest without trying to offend you as I can.
I know it's coming, so it's not going to offend me, so it's fine.
All right. I will not allow a New York Islander on this friggin' list. All right. It's not happening. It is not happening. Who was the last?
Allow.
It's not happening. Situationally speaking, the two teams I won't touch them. I won't touch them. Are the Islanders. Columbus makes it a little bit harder because their picks are generally in the top 5, so you do have to at some point take those guys. I don't want anything to do with any Islanders prospects, man. Like I don't. You and I have had this debate going for some time. I agree that he is going to raise his stock in college. I think he's going to have a heck of a year at Boston. He might even set some goal scoring records. I don't think the kid has what it takes to be an Islander as long as Lou Lamoriello is alive. And I just struggle to ever get hyped about an Islander. And I'll say this. I don't take Yzerman for... I'll try and be open-minded on this. I do not take Yzerman ahead of, and I'm sort of tipping my hand here, Matejchuk, Sanin Pelika, Kulich, Dickinson, Yakimchuk, Brindley, Moore, Nygaard. I have Dickinson on my list twice. Coronado. I'd probably take Callum Ritchie ahead of him. And at that point, I'm probably willing to have the conversation about Yzerman. So I don't know how many guys I just listed, 10 something. He can possibly be in the 40s for me. I can't in good conscience allow our listeners who put their trust and faith in us to recommend an Islander who, if you're right and 20 scouts and me are wrong, good for you. Good for you. But I'd bet against it. I don't see it happen.
Interesting.
So
no, like I said, it doesn't surprise me. I know, been down on him. And when you watch him play, it's for the national development team. It's easy to get down on him because most of the game he's like trying to make a play, doesn't work, or doesn't make the right pass, shoots a lot. A lot of the warts in his game need to be worked out of his game. We all know that. I think he's going to a good program for that to happen at BU. And so he's got Pandolfo as coach. He's great. Good system, good habits coach. I think they'll be able to work it out of him. And then his just ability to like find that open spot, to get open, find the hole, to get the rebound. He's just a goal scorer. So I hear you with the Islanders.
Mike Hoffman. He's Mike Hoffman.
No, I think he's a bit different than Mike Hoffman. But like, if he's like knocking on 40 goals, Like Mike Hoffman would score 40 goals in today's NHL when he was scoring in the 30s.
Sure.
No. And that's
Is his upside not?
We're looking at the number 30 prospect here. If Yzerman is a 40 goal scorer here in the NHL, then yeah, he's definitely 31 rank.
I agree with that, but I would also say that of anyone I've even thought about listing, his floor is far and away the lowest.
But his ceilings probably could be the highest.
No,
that's just what I'm saying.
Not on the Islanders, man. Not on the Islanders. Like a lot.
I don't know. Like they got Barzal, great playmaking center. It fits the right timeline. They got Dobson, power play quarterback there. So those two pieces alone, with Yzerman, keep building, spending some money. A lot of the rest of their core is going to age out, but I don't think it's as bleak as you make it. It's not fantastic, but
it's the worst.
I'm willing
it's
to
the worst team that he could possibly.
I'm willing to let him slide because I know I'm in the minority, but I just wanted to make that point conversation again. At 31. Yeah, at 31, I think that's where he fits in for me.
All right. Know that when he shows up on this list, I will put your name beside him. Not that we need to, because I don't think at any point we're going to be like, which one of us was all hot and heavy for Yzerman? I think we'll know, but he's not going at 31.
I'm not one to brag anyway, so I would just be like, we knew it all along, right? Right, Ryan? We're like,
I would deny that. I'll stick to my guns on that. Who, if we're being serious, who would your next guy be at 31?
Har. I got Nate Danielson.
Danielson. That is an interesting pick. I don't have him on my list.
Interesting. That's interesting as well.
We knew this was gonna happen. I need to see him at the next level. He was good when he got traded to Portland. He'll never be line one, ever.
No.
He's probably not
good,
a PP1
could be a good
guy.
second line center.
Yes, I don't disagree that he's actually probably a great second line center and in particular a matchups guy. His strength is his two-way game. I did like him at the World Juniors. I thought he was very consistent. I liked him on Portland once he was surrounded with some talent.
There's not a lot of locks here. Sorry, but there's not a lot of locks here for PP1 coming up with forwards.
No, but there are upsides here for PP1. So some guys I think we should be discussing right now, purely because of upside being PP1. Are Matejchuk, Sandin Pellikka, Kulich to Dickinson. We should be talking about Dickinson. After that, it gets a little more like there's a world where I really like Oliver Moore. And then Coronado is a guy who we saw at the next level. Those are the guys I think we should be discussing at this point because their upside is line one, PP1. Matejchuk in particular.
Well, I had Kulich way up earlier. So
yeah, I think it has to be Kulich here. Time? Yeah, I think it's Kulich time. I also think that we just spent 10 minutes not making a pick because I wrote down Cole Yzerman at the 23-minute mark so we could remember for any social media postings. 31 is Kulich. 32 for me is Matejchuk.
Sure.
Yeah. His season last year was fantastic. He was good for Canada before that injury. I like him a lot. Next on my list would be Dickinson and then Sandin Pellikka. I think it's hard to argue Dickinson right now because San Jose doesn't have a guy lined up for PP1. And we've talked a lot about San Jose. We've talked a lot about that forward core. I like Dickinson here. He's a good multi-cat guy. I think his floor is a number 4. And his ceiling is top pair.
Yeah, I'm with you. I think it's all there, and it'll be interesting to see him in London. This next bit, I had a group of forwards over a group of defensemen, and they're very interchangeable. and all the defensemen kind of have power play one value higher.
I
So,
agree. Yeah.
so
There's a
yeah,
lot of
I'm good
PP1
with.
defensemen that we're probably sitting on here. Defensemen's always tricky, right? Because for a long time there, the best defensemen in the league were not the guys taken in the top 10. You know, you had Shea Weber and PK Subban, you had Eric Carlson, you had Chris Letang. Like there was a period there where like the best D men in the league weren't the guys who got drafted as. Even now, Owen Power is a really tough defenseman to put a value on. Like I like the player. The hat trick he scored in the canceled World Juniors. He was the first Canadian defenseman to score a hat trick, certainly in a long time, possibly ever. Um, but now his situation sucks, and he's like not in the top 30 defensemen I would want on my fantasy team right now. So defensemen are always tough because once they hit 2021, like that's when you actually start to see it. And a good example of that is someone I wanted to talk about today, and I don't know that he's on my list. To this moment, I'm still struggling with it. Do you know who I'm talking about here?
Nope.
We had him at number 18 last year. It's Simon Edvinsson.
Oh yeah.
You know, like that's a tough one to crack. You know, I like Sandy Pellica more as a offensive D to go to power play one. But Edvinsson's tools are ridiculous still. He was half a point per game in the AHL last year.
Uh,
But he's a guy who I'm not ready to. I don't know where the heck he falls on this list. I have no idea. I don't know that he's in the top 50. And he's another guy, because it's sort of been a theme here in these first episode and a half, is he can make us look stupid. He can make us look absolutely stupid. Or he can fall off the list entirely.
Well, it's not necessarily falling off the list. I think it's just for Edvinsson, for me, it's just his situation and the fact that he is a unicorn that hasn't turned into a unicorn yet. And so you're just like, well, is it going to happen? Is the offensive game going to come along with the two-way game? And then on top of that, Detroit has a bunch of roadblocks for him. You got Sider, who's there, and then ASP is, you can read the writing on the wall that he's being drafted to be the power play quarterback, and Sider and Edvinsson are going to be shutdown pair. And so, but if Edvinsson was in San Jose's system, then you'd be like, well, you'd take some time for him. You would maybe throw him in at this spot.
Yeah.
Or earlier.
That. So, okay. So at 33, we've got Dickinson. Who do you like at 34 then?
Dickinson. Well, I would have my D group it's actually went Simashev, Dickinson, Matejchuk, Yakimchuk, and ASP. I feel like they're all kind of in a similar
I don't have
grouping.
Simashev. I don't have Simashev on my list. I'm just not. I mean, first of all, he's in Russia, so I haven't seen much. I've seen what I see on Twitter. I'd like to see some more offense out of that guy before I'm willing to have a fantasy conversation about him. He skates well. He skates very, very well. I can just absolutely see that guy as being a number 4 PP2, which I don't care. Like he's the 6th defenseman on your roster.
Yeah, I think you're
Sandy Pellica, I got time for. Yakimchuk, here's the thing about Yakimchuk. That situation sucks. He might be the best goal scoring D that team has had in a while, and he'd still have a hard time cracking their power play. They've got Shabbat. I mean, now they've gotten rid of Chychrun. That's good. I love Jake Sanderson. He is. I mean, I think we had this discussion like in the first episode last year, but like saw a big season coming from Jake Sanderson. He gave us a big season. His progression has been fantastic. They love him. If they move Shabbat, I have more time for Yakimchuk. When they move Shabbat, they have to move Shabbat. But right now, it's very similar where it's like, I don't know. I don't know that he's. I certainly take Sandy Pellica ahead of him. Dickinson, we've already got on the list. Who was the third one or the fourth D you mentioned? Yakimchuk, ASP, Dickinson, and
Simashev.
Simashev. Yeah. Sandin Pellikka, I think, is next on the list. I think that, like you say, he's being like you don't draft that guy if you don't want him to be PP1, and he's developed since last year. So I'm happy to put ASP at 34. I don't know about the next D-man.
You could easily say the same thing for Yakimchuk, though. Why are they drafting him if they're not going to give him a fair shake to beat that offense?
Well, he has more top four skills than Sandin Pellikka does outside of the power play. He's a big kid.
True. Yeah,
he
hits like a truck.
Which
is for fantasy value. I think if he's a decent goal scorer, like a good goal scoring defenseman, and that translates, he scored 30 this year. Big kid, hits a lot, hits hard. His fantasy value might be good even as a power play too. He could be like a Thomas Harley type.
I don't know that he has Harley, but I think that he has 10 to 15 goals and 200 hits, which you're right. That does have value. Okay, here's my question. I have Yakimchuk at 32 on my original list, so I'm not opposed to it. Is Gavin Brindley not in a really good situation in Columbus going forward? Who's blocking him from power play one with Fantilli, his former line mate?
Yeah, I think he's got a cakewalk. It's like Dumas, and I don't even know what else they have in their system.
I'm not like, I don't think Dumas and Brindley are even in the same conversation.
Dumas slipped. They started the year at the same, and they just went. I think Dumas had he was in such having to play in the queue again. It was just diminished his progression, I think.
Not to mention,
if any,
I am going to Google this because I don't want to get this wrong. Hold on just 1 second here. He got a DUI. That's not great. And he had double hip surgery, double hip
That's
surgery.
A bigger deal. That's a much
They're
bigger
both
deal.
a big deal.
Yeah.
They're both a big deal. In this climate, who's the guy who crashed into the Tim Hortons? Was it Ryan O'Reilly?
No, I see the parallel that you're speaking of. Yeah. So
like, I don't think
they should probably trade him at that point.
And they should, I mean, double hip surgery on a shrimp, and then a DUI like within 6 months of each other. Like, Dumas is not on my radar at all right now. He can get back on it. I'm done with that guy. I'm not looking to acquire him at all. Gavin Brindley is a guy who I have a lot of time for.
Yeah.
So, based on the power play potential, based on the line one potential, based on the prime minutes with Fantilli, which is good, he's a year away from those things. But I think Gavin Brindley is probably next on the list for me. I'm not taking Yakimchuk's in my 50. Yeah,
he was mine next up. Although I had Danielson, we didn't throw Danielson down yet, did we?
We did not. No,
Yeah, you said you don't have him on your list.
I don't have him on my list. No.
Oh, okay. Well, we'll meet somewhere in the middle then. We'll meet somewhere in the middle.
Yeah, we'll find a middle ground.
Yeah.
Here's
because I have Brindley. I have Brindley right after Danielson too.
Yeah, the thing about Danielson for me is I'm not sure about power play time. I think he's a matchup guy. And I guess lastly is we had Marco Kasper at 37 last year. And like, those guys are clones, man. Like, they've got the same player at the same position. And full disclosure, I don't have a clue which one I'd rather have right now. I don't have a clue. They're both matchup guys. They're both guys who can go out and probably be positive plus minus guys against other top six lines. I don't know who's going to be a more valuable fantasy asset. I did like what I saw from Danielson at the World Juniors. He had a good playoffs. I wanted more from a number 6 pick, man. Like that's like it might be as simple as that. Uh, Forwards, I would look at before Danielson, and I'll briefly justify it. Oliver Moore, because if they move him to wing, maybe he plays with Bedard. Coronado has shown more at the AHL level. I really like Callum Ritchie. That might be it. I like Rakoff a lot, but I wouldn't probably put him um, above Danielson. I really like Unger Sorum, but a lot of that is just same thing. I probably wouldn't put him ahead. So not ready for the Danielson combo yet. He's in the next 5 forwards.
That's fine.
I could have that discussion. So at 36, who do you like here that's not Yzerman or Danielson?
1 second.
I think Yakimchuk is probably a decent.
Yeah, if we haven't put him down yet, he's right in this chunk for me too.
Yeah, no, I'm good with Yakimchuk. I think that you've made a solid case for his multi-cap value, and I don't think that Shabbat is going to be in Ottawa for very much longer. So at 37, we've done ASP, we've done Coolidge, we've done Nadeau, we've done Dickinson, we've done Brindley. The next guy on my list, totally debatable. I have Nygaard, man.
Yeah, I don't have Nygaard on my list, so
that's an auto bump. Well, then who do you? My next one would be Coronado.
Coronado is my next, yeah.
Oh, wonderful! Well. Yeah, and Coronado was at 31 last year. We're sitting at 37 right now.
He's point per game in
season.
the A.
Yeah, very good season in the AHL. He's a guy who can make us look silly this year. Like to me, he's a very similar player to Genther. You know, his was it? Did he score? I can't remember if it was preseason or like in the first couple of games, but he scored a power play goal that was like, there it is, like there's Coronado. It was the puck came across the ice to him. I think it hit both like crossbar and side post into the net. And I was just like, that's what you want from that guy. Sort of faded after that, but that's not the end of the world from a D2.
Yeah, I think I would have him start in the A again this year.
Yeah, I agree.
Depending on for a camp, and let him work his way out of the A.
Yep.
Yeah,
I like that.
They have a spot ready for him when he's ready.
Oh, for sure. They have 5 spots ready for him when he's ready. Who you got 38 by?
Well, we still have guys that I have on my list we haven't taken yet, except for Yzerman, but Simashev and we did Yakimchuk. I have David Jiricek. I threw David Jiricek. It's a bit of a slip for Jiricek from last year's list, but I think there's still the potential there. One of the problems in Columbus is Zach Werenski just kind of still blocking that PP1 spot for a few years, and Matejchuk's a better offensive player. So best case is for Jiricek is probably that he is playing power play 2, number 3 D-man, and so maybe that's why he wants out of Columbus on top of being stuck in the AHL last year. So, and Columbus signed a whole bunch of defensemen too, remember? And traded for them. So
do I remember? Yeah.
They still have a glut.
Boneheaded stuff I've ever seen, man.
Yeah.
Young team, gonna be bad. They didn't want to be bad, and they went out and blocked all their best prospects. It makes no sense to me.
It's just tough with Jiricek though, because he's like still a good player, but the situation he's been put in Columbus just makes his value drop.
Yeah, I agree with that. It is tough. I do think that Columbus will run at least one power play with 2 D-men, simply due to a lack of forward core. They'd be one of the few teams where I'd go, yeah, it makes absolute sense for them to have 2 D-men, especially considering that Werenski and Jiricek can both bomb it, and then Matejchuk's just like he could almost be a forward on the power play.
Yeah, he plays like a forward. Yeah.
So who you got next then, bud?
Well, those are the 2 guys I had: Simashev and Jiricek.
Simishev. Yeah, as a fantasy asset, what D do I have left on my list? Is it too soon for that conversation? Do you take Simishev over Reinbacher?
Yes. I think there's more opportunity in Utah if he can come over and challenge for number one spot.
Yeah, I'd like it. All right, let's do this. Let's have this conversation because I like the guy. I just don't know that I like him as a fantasy asset. Simishev last year as a 18, 19-year-old in the KHL had 10 points in 63 games. He has 1 point in 4 games so far. And in the playoffs, he had 1 assist in 17 games.
Interesting.
Now, here's a conversation I would have. Are you familiar with a player? You probably know who he is. His name is Mikhail Gulyayev. Bring any bells?
Yeah.
He, on the other hand, had 3 points in 12 games. I've seen a lot of footage of him on Twitter. He reminds me a lot of Sam Gerard, like pre-letdown, like just before he signed his contract. Very good puck mover, very calm, steadying sort of player. I would sooner take Gulyayev as a fantasy asset than Simishev at this point. Now, obviously, Taves, Makar, like Gulyayev's never going to be PP1. But skill-wise, I think I take him over Simishev. That's where I get stuck. Is just like, it's a black hole at PP1 defenseman for Utah. I don't know, man. I don't think that he's the guy. I think they'll probably sign someone or trade for someone before it's Simishev. Like, he just hasn't shown that part of his game. He's a very good skater. He is very good in his own zone. But, like, the creativity on the power play doesn't, like, I haven't seen it.
Yeah, I didn't realize he had such a weak season last year.
Oh, it was not good.
Yeah.
It was not good.
I was still actually probably going off of his like draft pedigree and that, and so I could see.
Yeah, if we're doing that though, then Daniil
I could see
Boot needs to be on this list. I
did look at him for this one too because I was like, well, you never know, and then not much. Still a lot of progression going on in Russia. It's like sometimes tough to get ice time, so it's like Gulyayev is like he's an offensive defenseman, so it might be like a little bit of a longer term play with Simishev.
Yeah.
But I can see where you're coming from with it. It's just not looking like he's going to be an upper echelon offensive defenseman.
Well, if he's leaving for North America, they aren't going to be real inclined to develop him offensively. They're going to use him in whatever. I hope their cream cheese is so good. They're going to be inclined to use him in whatever context works best for them. So he won't even start developing that part of his game till they get him in the AHL, assuming that that's where he ends up first. The defenseman I have next on this list, do you know who it is? We've talked about him recently. He's not next, like he's not at 39 for me, but he is probably the most appealing defense option to me now.
I don't have any other defense on my list.
Sam Rinzel is going to have a crazy season this year. He is going to be lights out.
Oh, yeah?
Minnesota. Yep. Yeah, he's the guy whose stock I think is going to go through the roof this year. He was taken 25th overall in 2022 by the Chicago Blackhawks. He's 6'5", man. He's a 6'5" right-handed defenseman. Came from the USHL last year to go play at Minnesota, where he put up 28 points in 39 games as like he was option 3 on that team and was that close to point per game. Like, whatever, 0.7
Okay.
points per game.
So
3
here's
points.
no, you can finish. Go ahead. Sorry, Ed.
No, that's all I got. I think he's going to put up a big season this year. I think he's going to put his name in the hat in the Chicago future power play plans alongside, in my opinion, it goes right now. We talked about this earlier. I think it's Korchinski, Levshunov, and then nothing. I think he's going to put his name in that hat for top spot with whoever emerges as the best option for that power play one this season, because we're in agreement it's probably going to be a dogfight between Levshunov and Korchinski for those future reigns. I think Rinzel's going to put his name in that combo, man.
I don't know about that. I think that's a stretch. In 2022, that was 2 drafts ago. So he's knocking on the door of point per game defenseman. So he'd be in like Scott Morrow type of defenseman.
Yep.
Huh.
But he's 6'5", he's a righty, and when he was drafted he was thought to be a longer term project than this. He's ahead of schedule. We don't even have to put him on the list. I had him at 50 because he is, again, when I look at guys I think who will increase their value this year to the point where I could trade Rinzel for a Cowan by mid-season, he would be one of those candidates for me. Yeah,
You're not gonna get
we have Cowan
Rinzel.
at 30.
Yeah.
If Cowan's in the OHL this year, I bet you could.
Not a chance.
I bet
he's the Leafs' top prospect.
I'm sorry.
And he's the Leafs' top prospect, and he's good too. So he's in perfect situation. They need the
It's
cap
not
space.
that perfect. He's a
And
center.
Rinzel's mega blocked.
Well, he's no more blocked than David Jiricek is. He's probably less blocked than David Jiricek is.
Similarly blocked, but Jiricek's like already a pro.
Sure. Yeah. The physical tools. I'm putting this onto the recording because I think we're going to talk about him again this year. Of course, I do often write the show notes so I can make sure that we do talk about him again this year. Let's get off of this. We're spinning our wheels. Who do you like at 39? You want to do Danielson? I'll give you your Danielson here.
Sure.
I don't love him. I think this time next year, he's probably like, here's a question. I'm going to write this down. What is his points per game in the AHL this year?
0.75.
All right, I'm going to go 0.5.
Half a point per game in the A.
Yep.
He's a very mature player for junior hockey, even in his draft year. I think his game will translate well to the AHL at least.
We'll see where he ends up. I'm saying 0.5. I'm saying 0.5.
You wrote that down?
I'm not sure he's gonna take the top ice in oh man, my brain. Who's Detroit's farm team?
No, you stumped me too. Grand Rapids.
Grand Rapids, thank you.
Yeah.
I think Grand Rapids is going to have a fairly deep team this year, and I could see him not getting that top ice. Number 40, where are we? I have Unger Sorm here, and then I have Brad Lambert, and then I have
Brad Lambert.
Yeah.
So you got Lambert over. See, I have Shane Wright and Yager next.
Oh man, we don't have Wright on the list yet. Wright's okay. I'm revising the list. Wright is 39.
Yeah, Lambert over Wright.
No, I see. He's such a freaking afterthought. I even have a note here that why do we hate Shane Wright at the 13-minute mark? And already I've forgotten about him. 41. Dude, I think my biggest complaint about Lambert is that he plays for Winnipeg, and Winnipeg hates anyone under the age of 23. That's my biggest If he played on a different team, I think he'd be.
And they just got Braden Yeager.
Yeager's not playing this year. There's no way.
No,
Lambert had 50. Dude, Lambert had 55 points in 64 AHL games last year. He had 38 and 26 WHL the year before. I like the stats. I like his tool set. I don't like the opportunity in Winnipeg. The other guy I would probably like to see here is Josh Doan. And I think he'll probably give me that one.
You know what? Because he played in the NHL last year. I didn't even have him down on the list. I definitely would have had him around here. I know. I missed Donor.
Yeah, all right. So we're putting Doan at 41. Oh, you said down when I was typing. So now it says Josh Down. That's not a good nickname. 42. Yeah, I've said it for a bit now. I like Nygaard here. Ungersorm is a reach, but I do like him a lot. And I do think he's going to rocket up that list. Like, what he's accomplished to date, it's pretty insane.
But he's going to be thrown right into the mix with what's his face, Danielson and Casper, right?
Yeah, like he had 6 points in 7 games at the Worlds, dude, as a D+1. Like that bonkers. Went up to Lexans this past season, put up 15 and 35. Like, I like this kid a lot. And for a lot of the same reasons that we had Nadeau higher than this, I think his name is probably mentionable in this 42 range. Where here's what I'd like to do, if I'm being as obvious and transparent as possible. I would like to get a guy in these next 8 picks that feels like a reach but makes us look smart. You know, if I'm being totally transparent, I'd like this to be where we get some guys who gain some serious value this year. I think Unger Sorm has potential to be that guy. I think Callum Ritchie is a guy we can talk about that. I think, I hate to say it, Morgan Geeky might be the guy to talk about here.
In Tampa, eh?
Yeah. Give me something.
Not this year though. Well, I have.
Yeah.
Why don't we just start picking guys off here? So I have from my options left. I have Jaeger Firkus, Consta Helenius, Callum Ritchie, as well. Braden Yeager.
Callum Ritchie is next on the list because we both have him high, and Colorado does not have a lot coming up, and they might have a need for a couple top 6 forwards very soon. Ritchie,
I think Miro Shevchenko still has a lot of potential.
You got Miro Shevchenko on your list. What's he done to deserve to stay on that list?
It's a lot of skill set there, just the things he does well, and he keeps getting better and better, and just with Washington not having a lot to block him, it could be a good opportunity for him to stick on a top line there.
Miro Shevchenko. I don't have him on my list. Miro. My immediate thoughts are he actually did not develop very much last year. Here we go. His numbers in the AHL last year were a pinch over 0.5 points per game. He had 9 goals and 16 assists in 47 games. He did put up 6 points in 21 NHL games. And in the AHL playoffs, same thing, 12 points in 20 games. Like, I agree his tool set is nice. It's a make or break year for him as far as me considering him as someone to target in fantasy. Miro Shevchenko, we got Ritchie. I don't know. I take Geeky over Miro Shevchenko. Just due to the void of talent in Tampa. Who's their second? Like Tampa's.
Yeah, it could be a good fit. He hits a lot. Go for it.
Yeah.
Throw Geeky in there.
We talked about Geeky last year as a guy who could make us look stupid. He was good. He added some interesting wrinkles to his game last year, I thought.
Yeah.
He became
Yeah,
a lot
nice
more
shot.
noticeable all over the ice. Very nice shot. Net front presence. So the next guys for me would be Nygaard, Oliver Moore, Reinbacher, Lambert, Unger, Sorum are kind of the guys I'd be talking about in this bunch.
All right. Well, I got Jaeger, Furcus, and Hellenius as well.
I like
who are
Hellenius.
your two? Who are your top two guys you got left? Top two.
Top two is Unger, Sorum, and Nygaard.
Okay. And I got Hellenius and Furcus.
I like Hellenius a lot. I do. We're going to go with him, and I'm going to take Unger, Sorum after that. Here's my problem with Hellenius. And we could just replay our section on Buffalo from the first episode. Like, he's not bumping Tage, and he's not bumping Cousins, I don't think. And
they might throw Cousins.
Like, he's a great center. He reminds me. I'm sorry?
They might eventually be the play. They might eventually be the play to put Cousins as third line center. He might be best at that role, like a Jordan Stahl.
Could be. I see a lot of Lundell in Hellenius, but I also see it in Cousins. So I don't know that we're ready for a 7 mil third line center yet. So 44,
I got one guy.
Hellenius at 45. We're good.
I got one guy. You're going to put Unger, Sorum. Sure.
Hellenius, Unger, Sorum was my 44-45. Sell me on that not being the case.
Oh no, that's fine. After that, I have Matthew Poitras.
Ooh, good one. He should be a lot higher.
Yeah, we had the 41 game cutoff.
How about this? Danielson drops to 46. Poitras moves to 40. I feel like I'm more comfortable with that.
Yeah, that sounds
Danielson good. Yeah, good one. I missed him. How many games did he play last year? Our cutoff was 41. He was probably closer to like
30s.
25 hit. Yeah, good for you. Good catch. We got 3 spots left, man. So my nominees would be Nygaard, Reinbacher, Rinzel. Yeah, I like Rinzel a lot. Oh, and Oliver Moore he's got to be on this list, man. Like, there's still a.
So here's the thing with Simishev and Rinzel, like the comparisons there. If Simishev played college hockey, he'd be putting up those points too.
Based on what?
Just pure skill set and being able to dominate a lot of it with his legs.
Yeah, I mean, physically they're relatively similar.
Yeah. But that was just a little comparison point. I'm fine.
We should side bet. I would take a side bet on the 25th overall pick from 2 years ago over Simishev. I would. I have no.
We'll remember this one.
I'll
take that bet all day.
All day. I love that. Yeah. Well, then let's freaking do this.
Yeah.
Let's put Simishev at 49, and we'll put Rinzel at 50, and we'll write down our names, and we'll see. And if I'm right, you have to trade me friggin' Slavkovsky, even though I don't have an extension slot for him anymore. And if I'm right, or if you're right, well, it doesn't matter. You won't be right, but we'll see. Simishev goes to 49. So we got to fill in 47 and 48. These are the last 2 spots. It's a weird way to do it, but that's how we're doing it. Simishev, I don't have to write any of this down. I know. I like Oliver Moore for one of these spots.
It's a decent gamble.
So we'll put him at 47, and you unimpeded have been allotted the 48th pick of the prospect draft.
Well, you know who it is.
Don't mess. Oh, it's Iserman.
Yeah.
All right. Well, Godspeed. All right. That was actually easier than I thought it would be. Some good catches. I was really hoping that you would catch guys and I would catch guys, and I think that happened. So just a quick recap here. Part 2 of our top 50 starts at number 27. We've got Dvorsky, followed by Maverick Bork, Bradley Nadeau, Easton Cowan, Yuri Kulich, Denton Matejchuk, Sam Dickinson, Sandin Pelika, Gavin Brindley, Yakimchuk, Coronado, Yurchek, Wright, Poitras, Doan, Ritchie, Geeky, Hellenius, Ungersorum, Danielson, Oliver Moore, Iserman, Simashev, Rinzel. You know what I really like about this list?
What do you like?
I think both of our personalities are a little bit represented here. We've got some picks that we're both hanging our hats on. Last year, we made the list ahead of time, so it was very like our list. The top 26, I think, was fairly consensus between the two of us. Again, you had higher than I did, but neither here nor there. We were pretty darn close in our top 26 on almost the whole thing. The 27 through 50, there is some serious flavor here, man. I like it a lot. This is going to be fun. It's going to be a good time. I will send you a copy of this, and we can there's some bragging rights on this one, man.
Well, and hang on to our original list too, which will be fun as well. I think that's probably one of the fun things about being a scout is looking back and being like, I got that one right.
Yeah, you know what? All right, here's what we're going to do. We're going to do one more thing. We each get to throw out 2 honorable mentions.
2
Mine
extras
are going to be Carson Rekoff, who's your, I spelled that wrong. Rekoff and Brad Lambert are going to be mine. And yours are going to be...
Oh, give me a sec here. I wasn't... Close my list.
Already? Oh man, Nygaard. Shit. I'm doing 3. I'm doing 3. 3.
Your check made the list, right?
Your check's up there, yeah. Your check is at 30.
All right, so I'll take 3 as well. I'm going with Trevor Connolly.
Ooh, he was on my list. I had him 48.
And Matthew Wood.
Did you draft Trevor Connolly?
No.
Did you?
No, I didn't.
Is it okay? I'm gonna check that. If you did, I'm gonna protest. But all right, who's your third?
Michael Haig.
Good one. All right, real quick. I did put together. I don't know if you did this. I asked you to. Let's see how. Will you stop with the cream cheese? Your arteries. We wanted to put together some names that could be Brock Faber in the sense that they're not going to make our list, and they haven't. Guys who could make us look silly, right? I put together 4 names.
We'll just go with your 4 because I did not do it. So
you didn't do your friggin' homework?
No, I didn't do my homework.
Let's hear your 4 though. Guy. Here's the 4. Kovalenko.
Mm-hmm.
That 26.9-year-old Tisplakov, the Islanders KHL guy who was like half a goal per game last year. Riker Evans, and that's a wild one because with the signing of Montour, he is even more blocked, but I've liked him every time I've seen him. And then this one I think is actually probably the closest to Brock Faber. And I couldn't pronounce his name if you asked me to, but Mukhamadullin is a guy.
That was the one guy that popped in my head too. Nice call. Just I was thinking
about you didn't do the homework, so you're just copying off my sheet now.
No.
I asked
was
you
trying to pronounce the name. I was reading the name.
It was the pronunciation that stopped you from handing in your assignment. That's fine.
No, it's just
Those are the four. Those are the four. I think Muckham has a lot in common with Faber. In that, I mean, the opportunity is there. Like the San Jose PP1 slot is the Minnesota slot from last year. Like it's right down to Kalen Addison probably being his biggest competition. Did he resign in San Jose? I don't even know if he's signed right now.
No, I think they just I don't even think they qualified him.
Yeah, he might have walked. Well, he was the last guy. The other one would be Henry Thrun. I liked him a lot in college, but he would be the top comp and very displaceable. I see a lot of comparisons there. He's a crease clearing, big shot kind of guy. So those are the four where we're really trying to cover our butts here and not get favored again. We'll just call it getting favored going forward. I'm trying. You're trying less hard. You didn't put much into this, but we are trying to avoid getting favored this year. So that's us trying to avoid it. We probably still will. There's going to be some guy who's going to come out of nowhere who we liked but didn't see the potential for, and he's going to make us look silly. But isn't that the fun of fantasy hockey? You know, that's why we do this, trying to find those guys. I had fun, pal. This was, what was it, like 3 hours? Yeah, 2 hours, 2.5 hours.
It's a lot.
Of
that's the way to do the draft.
We got to talk hockey. You know,
Yeah.
I feel like you and me have we've been distracted with other things, and now we get to finally, tomorrow's opening night on the rookie tourneys, and we can put our heads where they belong, up hockey's behind, and just leave them there for like 8 months. And I can't wait. So excited for this season.
Oh, checking scores.
Oh, I miss it.
The best.
I miss refreshing the score, man. Hey, shout out to the score. If you guys ever want to sponsor a podcast, we'd give it to you for free, man. I love your app. I love it. It's fantastic. It's a dopamine fix for me, just seeing those numbers change on the scoreboard and seeing what happened with them.
Just like that.
Best of luck to everyone this year, except for Evan Debert, when it comes to your fantasy teams. You know what we didn't talk about this year? I had a banger year last year.
Oh, yeah. It's true. Yeah, he was champ.
Dude, I won. What did I win? 2 for sure. I think I won 3 leagues. And this year, I might do 4 this year. That 33 league of ours is like I almost killed a league that you and I were in. Like you left it last year. I almost killed the league this year because people just don't even want to play against me. It's a beautiful thing. I'll have to go over my roster at some point just to, I don't know, showboat. But it's a heck of a team I put together over there. Last place last year, and this year it's pretty good. Pretty good. Well,
Sweet. All right, pal.
Nice chatting with you, buddy. We will be back earlier on, some point next week, to discuss the opening weekend of camps. I think is that's all we can talk about next week. Hey, I don't really care to talk about anything else. I want to see what's going on.
This is prime time prospect time. Doesn't get any better than this.
Yeah, it'll be probably just a lot of what we saw, what we heard, what we're looking at. I am curious how different our list would be if we did it in 2 weeks, but that's the game. When you do it on September 12th, you got to put something together. So hopefully all you drafters out there or traders out there are able to glean something from this. We sure had fun putting it together, and I look forward to talking to you all again very soon. Bye, Debert.
See you, buddy. Have a good one.